Like and subscribe. On the way in the door, people. Here we go. Let's talk about the eye test today. Let's talk about the eye test. Fanboys, hang around or go ahead and leave. It's not going to be a good video for you. But let's talk about the eye test. First of all, let's talk about stats for a minute. I bring up this all the time. We don't really talk about stats on this channel because to me, the eye test is much more important. And I'll tell you why. There are plenty of players with great stats who failed the greatness test. But all the players who are considered great, the stats back that up. So you can have great stats and not really be a great player. But if you're a great player, you normally definitely have the stats. One interesting thing about Michael Jordan that is fascinating to me is the fact that Michael Jordan, first of all, wasn't really focused on stats himself. Played in an era before analytics had taken over. And yet, on a per game basis, Michael Jordan is at the top of a lot of stats and at the top of a lot of analytics. PER, win shares, again, on a per game. And I find that amazing. And so the stats and analytics confirm what those of us who grew up in the 90s, watched Michael Jordan, already knew and continue to know. And that is Michael Jordan is the greatest player to ever do it. And his stats back up that. Again, per game stats for you fanboys. So that's amazing to me. But so now let's talk about the eye test and why it never fails. But before we do that, let me read a quick comment from a viewer who commented on my what should be the minimum requirements to be in the GOAT conversation. Shout out to @TP-SF5MK. And his comments is simply this. If anyone was to come along with a legitimate case to be on the same level as MJ, it would be undeniable. We would be blessed to be able to witness true greatness twice in a lifetime. And that is a very true statement in the sense that I feel like if we were watching someone who was on the same level as Jordan or surpassed Jordan, it would be undeniable to our eyes. It would be undeniable. The same way that watching Jordan, it was undeniable that we were watching something that we had never seen before and likely wouldn't see again in our lifetime. So the eye test gives you what you can't find in the stats. And these are some of the things that you get from the eye test. By watching a player, you can see how creative he is. To me, which is a very important aspect of a basketball player, someone who loves the game. You can see what his demeanor is like on the court. You can see how poised he is in situations. How he acts towards his teammates. Does he root for his teammates? Does he hold his teammates accountable? You can see these things. Can't get that in stats. You can see the intangibles by watching things like hustle, instinct, intuitiveness. You can't get that from stats. You can't see how hard a player goes after it with the stats. You can't see if that player just has good basketball instincts like a Larry Bird. And you can't tell how intuitive a player is from stats. Intensity. Stats does not show you how intense a player is on the court. If he's engaged in every moment of the game, we know somebody who's not engaged in every moment of the game, but we're going to get to that. Hold on, fanboys. Resilience in the face of adversity. You cannot get that from stats. You cannot tell how a player reacts when the lead is slipping away, or when they're already losing and the game seems to be getting out of control. You can't see that in stats. You can't see the player's attitude if they have a "I'll do it" attitude. And what I mean by a "I'll do it" attitude is they are willing to do whatever it takes to contribute to the win. If that means playing out of position, if that means doing things they don't normally have to do on the team. An example, when Kareem was hurt in the next game, Magic says, hey, I'm going to play center and I'm going to score. I'm going to be a scorer this game. That mentality of whatever it takes to make it happen, that's what I'm doing. And you cannot see a player's awareness, just his general awareness of everything going on the court. You can't get these things from stats. So now that I've went through these things, let's talk about LeBron James and the eye test. As I've mentioned several times, it's hard for me to watch 2 minutes of a LeBron James highlight reel. It has to be one of the most boring things that I try to get through. And every now and then I just click on it because, I try to be fair. I try to be fair, fanboys. I really do. I try to be fair and say, hey, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Let me click on this video again and see if my perspective has changed since the last time I tried to watch it. And I click on it, and it's the same old dunks, the same old moves, with rarely any variation to what's going on. So let me tell you why LeBron James fails the eye test, and why that's even more, it diminishes his championships, because his championships are solely based on him team hopping and putting together the best talent. The eye test tells you that LeBron James is not as good as people try to make him out to be. He's not as good as Larry Bird. Just eye test alone. When I'm watching Larry Bird, even when you go back and watch the highlights, all these things that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, intensity, creativity, his awareness on the court, his resilience in the face of adversity, his I'll do it attitude, willing, diving for loose balls, all that stuff Larry Bird does. And if I had to point out a difference between Larry and Magic, I would actually say that Larry Bird's game more resembles Jordan's, minus the extreme athleticism of Jordan. And I think the reason that is because Larry Bird was very fundamentally sound as well. So a lot of the pump fakes and just knowing how to position his body, like I said, Larry just knew how to get to spots. He knew how to see the play before it unfolded. And, people try to say LeBron does that. No, to me, LeBron is I would like to classify him in the game of basketball as book smart, not street smart. Like LeBron knows what the plays is supposed to be and that type of thing. But LeBron is not very intuitive, on the court in terms of, just on the spot coming up with an audible if needed. Larry Bird was great at that. You could see it in the movements that he made, how he got to the basket, how he was able to get his shot off, how he was able to go in between defenders. A lot of those through the leg passes and kind of stuff that Larry would do. He was just an intuitive player who was fundamentally sound, who knew how to use the pump fakes to get you off balance, who was always thinking a step ahead of the defense. Again, not like LeBron James, who's like, oh, this play is supposed to go like this. So, and then if it doesn't go like this, then I don't know what to do. But in a moment-to-moment basis, Larry Bird knew he just had good instincts about the game. Again, LeBron, like I said, I classify LeBron's IQ in quotation marks as book smarts and not street smarts when it comes to basketball. So yeah, and again, Larry Bird wasn't the most athletic, but his hustle was off the charts. His competitiveness was off the charts. And I think all those guys, especially if you're talking about the superstars back then, were all highly competitive. And the way I like to describe it is Magic, Bird, Kareem, Dr. J, a lot of those guys, I would say that the way that they differ from Michael is this. Their competitive was like right up to the level to where it wasn't diagnosable. And Michael Jordan's tipped the scale to where his competitiveness became a diagnosable problem. That's kind of how I think about it. But yeah, so Bird compared to LeBron James on the eye test, it is no comparison. I can go watch Bird highlights and never get bored. Like always something different because he's always thinking, and it's always, like I said, it's just good instincts for basketball. All right, let's move on to Magic Johnson and LeBron James. A lot of people like to try to compare LeBron to Magic. As a matter of fact, a lot of them say he's a better version of Magic. Only delusional fanboys or people who work for Clutch Sports would say such a thing. But if we're just talking about passing, Magic Johnson is the Michael Jordan of passing in terms of making passing look extraordinary, making passing look glamorous. And again, watching Magic Johnson, you can see all of these things. The creativity with the passing, the intangibles and hustle, the willingness to do whatever it takes to win. Again, I go back to Magic playing center. Magic being a scorer when he needs to. And the resilience in the face of adversity. Not giving up, basically, is what it comes down to. You fanboys, you don't know anything about that. You know what? But I will give y'all credit because even though your king gives up a lot, you guys do not give up in defending him. So, I guess you deserve a round of applause for that, maybe. Ignorance is bliss. But anyway, so yeah, watching Magic on the court, you knew you were watching, again, something special. Again, that competitiveness. Magic's ability to truly fake out the defender with a pass, on a play-by-play basis. Magic Johnson, he's on a level of passing that LeBron, and to be fair, LeBron, that nobody has come close in terms of, the act itself. Now, John Stockton is obviously a great passer, but it was just more of a fundamental pass that he was great at. But Magic revolutionized what passing could be. Magic made passing look as glamorous as scoring. You know, a true team general on the court, and you could see that fierceness in him when he played. And again, go watch some Magic Johnson highlights, and I promise you will not be bored. Who's Kareem? Again, what's the eye test with Kareem? First and foremost, we can talk about the creativity, because Kareem has the NBA's most unguardable shot with the sky hook. And, think about the creativity that it takes to come up with a shot where you turn your body sideways and you're shooting from the opposite side of your body, so that it's much harder to get to block. And you practice that enough to master it. Again, creativity. Kareem's a competitor. And again, like I said, Kareem was definitely much more than that sky hook. He had great post moves. And again, to me, for a big man, like Kareem actually had a jump shot. I feel like most big men, if their jump shot, they really barely get off the ground. But Kareem actually got into the air on his jump shot, to be someone that tall. So yeah, again, and go watch some Kareem highlights, and you will see plenty of different moves that keeps you from being bored. Unlike when you're watching a LeBron James highlight reel. I would imagine the only people who are truly entertained by LeBron James highlight reels are the fanboys. Fanboys, let me know what it is. Is it just when you're in love with someone, they can do no wrong? Is it that kind of thing happening with you guys that you can watch LeBron James highlight reels? Or, I don't know. Just a theory. Let me know, fanboys. I'm curious. Kobe. I don't even think we have to really get into Kobe against LeBron in the eye test. Number one, Kobe was the closest thing to Michael Jordan. But I think Kobe, in his early years, I think Kobe was obsessed with trying to become like Mike. And I think as time went on, he really kind of developed more of his own thing. Now, obviously, the stuff from Mike was always there. And because he had a relationship with Mike and seemed to get advice from Mike on a regular basis, like he can't help but look Mike-like when he plays. But Kobe definitely developed some of his own moves. And, some of his own dribble moves, some of his own hang in the air type moves. And, we don't have to say that Kobe was a fierce competitor. I would say Kobe was the last of those type of competitors. When Kobe retired, he was the last of that ilk of type of competitor. Guys who you could put in that same bracket as the Jordans and the Birds and the Magics and the Kareems and the Russells, and the Wilts. He was the last of that. But watching Kobe on the court, what can you say? He had an endless array of moves. He wasn't afraid of the big moments, and I think that's one of the things that you can really respect about Kobe, especially coming into the league so early, coming right out of high school. And again, Kobe wasn't put into the position that LeBron James was, where he could just come and take over a team. Kobe had to come off the bench. Kobe had to earn his stripes. And, some of those early games where, Kobe was shooting some air balls and, bricking some game winners and that kind of thing. You really have to respect Kobe's resolve in that sense, because those kind of things, especially for a player that young, could have derailed him. Could have broke his confidence. But it didn't break his confidence, and because Kobe is who he is. He's that fierce guy. He's that fearless competitor like Mike. And he plays with that relentless intensity. Again, LeBron James, I'm going to say this over and over again. LeBron James is the most inconsistent superstar that we've ever had. He's only consistent in the point that he's inconsistent. LeBron has moments where he plays with great intensity. But too many times he has moments where he looks like he's looking for someone else to save him, where he's looking for his teammates to make him look good. Too many times where it looks like LeBron James isn't willing to do anything to get the win. Again, why can't LeBron James play off the ball at this point in his career? He should be able to. But to me, this is just more representation of LeBron James not being willing to do anything to get the W's. Kobe Bryant, to me, is not even a question when it comes to the eye test between him and LeBron. And last but not least, let's talk about the eye test with MJ. Again, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the video. To me, it is amazing that this player that we watched in the 90s, who clearly was head and shoulders above everyone else, again, who was not focused on stats, was only focused on winning, again, was playing before the era where analytics became the focus. And when you go look up per game stats and analytics, MJ is at the top of a lot of those main analytics and a lot of the important stats. To me, that is simply amazing. When you watch Michael Jordan play, first of all, let's start here. Fanboys, I would suggest you go watch a lot of these younger generation kids reacting to Michael Jordan highlights. Because a couple of things that you consistently hear when these young kids are watching Michael Jordan highlights is they're like, what am I watching? And this guy is an alien. Several of them. Time after time. They call him an alien because they cannot believe that someone was capable of playing basketball like this. For as athletic as they try to make it seem like today's modern NBA is, we still have not seen anyone be able to do what Michael Jordan did on a nightly basis. Again, Michael Jordan was must-see TV because you always felt like if you missed a game, you were going to miss something amazing. And amazing happened every night. When you talk about resilience in the face of adversity, MJ did not have a give-up gene in him. That gene just did not exist. He made people believe that anything was possible because he seemed to make the impossible possible time and time again. The I'll do it attitude. The willingness to do whatever it takes on the court. If MJ's shot wasn't falling, then he may focus on rebounds or just focus on defense. Always looking to help out his teammates on defense. To me, that's a big one. When you're comparing LeBron and the eye test against MJ, again, LeBron gives up a lot. And even more importantly than that, he throws his teammates under the bus, not just in press conferences, but on the court. So many times when his teammates get beat by their man, LeBron just stands and looks at them instead of actually stepping over and trying to help out. And he's normally just a few feet from it, where he could have easily helped out. MJ's awareness on the court. It just always looked like the wheels were always spinning. He was always engaged into the game. His demeanor on the court was always of intensity. His demeanor on the court was serious. Like, this is the most important thing happening in life right now at this moment. The intangibles of MJ. Again, like we talked about Larry Bird, diving for loose balls and those kind of things. His instincts to just be able to seemingly know what the defender is gonna do, and he just makes another move. Couple that with his ability to just hang in the air. Good passing ability, underrated passer. MJ was, and his intuitiveness on the court. And we don't even have to talk about MJ's creativity. Unmatched creativity. Unmatched creativity. I love Kobe Bryant. And Kobe, like I said, Kobe eventually developed into his own thing where he had a lot of moves that was strictly Kobe Bryant moves. But I do not think there is another basketball player that was as creative as Michael Jordan. His ability to double clutch and reverse layups, and his spin moves along the baseline, and his ability to just hang in the air and contort his body, his ability to absorb contact and still keep his shoulders square with the rim to make the shot. MJ's creativeness knows no bounds. And the funny thing is, if you notice that the 91 series where he does the layup, you know what layup I'm talking about, the switch hands, switch from the right to the left hands. If you look, right after MJ makes that layup, he pauses for a second. And I think when I look at that, to me, he looked like he almost shocked himself. He looked like he shocked himself. Like he had to pause for a minute like, wow, did I just do that? So yeah, MJ's creativity is unmatched. And last but not least, here we go. Fanboys, your king is one of the least creative superstars that they try to put in the top 5. He's oftentimes lacking intensity on the court. Again, to me, I equate it to he's book smart on the court, not street smart. He doesn't have good instincts about basketball. He's knowledgeable about the X's and O's and what should be. But to me, LeBron is not a good reactionary player. I'm sure part of that is because LeBron just doesn't have a lot of moves. And then the other thing is LeBron can only play one way. Fanboys, that's your king. He can only play one way. And his resilience in the face of adversity is questionable at best. LeBron is great when the team is winning. He's a front runner. This is what it is. But do not bring up the 3-1 comeback. Because outside of that, it's too many examples of when LeBron gets down, you can tell that his spirit is broken. He gives up. So I don't care about the one, I'm going to call it a semi-great thing that he did, because, again, they try to overblow the Warriors to make him seem greater when that was a pretty even matchup to begin with. Again, so there was more of an indictment on LeBron that he let his team get down 3-1. And again, look at the interview with Tyronn Lue where he talks about having to call out LeBron for not playing hard out there. So LeBron, to me, drastically fails the eye test. You can see all these things when you watch LeBron, but the stats won't tell you this. LeBron's stats won't tell you that, he'll watch a man 4 feet from him get a clear path to the basket without trying to contest it. The stats won't tell you that. The stats won't tell you a lot of times LeBron won't even walk back up the court. The stats won't tell you that LeBron is not a creative basketball player. The stats won't tell you that LeBron go back to the locker room early, showing horrible leadership. Horrible leadership. You should be out there with your team until the game is over, unless you're injured. The stats won't tell you all the excuses LeBron makes. Where's that foot surgery? Anyway, this video has went on way long enough. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Fanboys, your king fails the eye test miserably. And you guys have to be delusional if you think LeBron plays exciting basketball. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. All right.